I made you presenter as well. Okay, great. So, hi guys, we have Siddhant with us. He's our SAP ARIBA consultant. Siddhant, you can start with your introduction, or we can take the introduction of the participants and then we can start. Okay, thank you.
Sure, Sana. Sure. Hi, hello everyone. Good evening, good night, on based on your time zone. Yes, my name is Siddhant. I work as an SAP ARIBA consultant. I have an experience about more than eight plus years of experience, 8.5 plus years of experience in SAP ARIBA itself. I have been working with SAP ARIBA on different modules, upstream, downstream both. I have rich experience in implementation of SAP Ariba solutions, which covers the upstream and downstream as well. Core integrated solutions and with multiple ERPs like ECC, S4, and Oracle. I have worked across multiple clients, which includes with different geographies and even the state-owned projects. So yeah, that's a quick introduction from my end. Like if anyone would like to introduce themselves, we are welcome to do so.
Sushil, you can just introduce yourself and hope, guys, you guys can hear Siddhant clear, right? If you have any issues in hearing, please let us know.
Uh, Hi Siddhant and Sana, Sushil this side. So my name is Sushil and calling from Gurgaon, and I'm a working professional, and I'm working in the supply chain field, and I have completed my 5 years of experience this January in the field. I'm working as a sales operations specialist in my current company.
That's good to Sushil.
Yeah, we are working on NetSuite software, and I have also have experience of working in ERP. That's all.
Great, Sushil.
That's great.
Siddhant, your voice is little bit low. Can you
Okay.
just be louder? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. I think it's something wrong with my mic. But yeah, is it? Am I audible now? Is it any better?
Yes, yes, it's good
Yes,
now.
Siddhant.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So I think yeah, let's start. I don't want to take much of your evening. So we'll just start. Yeah, I'll just give you a bit overview of what we are gonna see today. We are gonna go to the we're gonna typically go with the SAP Ariba overview, like what SAP Ariba is, what how does its functionalities work, what kind of a module it is. I don't want to bombard you with a lot of the technical stuff, so I'll mostly talk about the functional side of SAP Ariba today, so that you can connect the dots like how what SAP Ariba is and what we are going to implement if we wish to pursue the career in SAP Ariba. But pretty much, I'll be talking about like what SAP Ariba functional does, how it's integrated with ERP, and what functionalities it provides on the table with for the customers. If you guys have any question at any point, if you got any technical, non-technical, maybe logical, illogical, just throw it at me. It's better if you're sitting for this session in this evening, you better be get all of the doubts regarding Ariba or any of the points which I would be presenting cleared out of your mind by end of this session. So yeah, we'll be starting with the presentation now. Yes. So yeah, this is our agenda, like what we are gonna see today, what kind of a solution, what we have in this agenda. So basically, what SAP Ariba is. So SAP Ariba is a cloud-based solution, a cloud-based tool, what we can call, which is digitalized to make the procurement process smooth and effective and more transparent. So if like many of I believe like there might be an MM consultants in our audience today, so they can see right like what contract or any kind of a procurement process is done when related to the ECC or ERP. When it comes to the SAP platform, we don't have much an interactive session with the suppliers. So what we do is we in order to do that, and we don't have a cloud-based solution on that. Most of the Indian customers or many of outside customers use on-prem solutions. If they are not a big giant, so SAP Ariba, clears that void. So there's where it brings the procurement digitalized, and it gives a more visibility. So typically, in what an organization follows is they have an email communications, they have an phone conversations, they have to maintain the documents, they have to maintain the emails. So those stuff can be avoided when a cloud-based solution like SAP Ariba is implemented into the system. Of course, there are multiple solutions other than SAP Ariba which we can thought of. But what SAP provides is SAP is a brand name, and SAP does integrates. The beauty of SAP is it integrates very well with other systems, other ERP systems. So that's what takes SAP Ariba a majority of projects in procurement work. So yeah, this is a pretty much what SAP Ariba is and are all about. Like what you can, obviously, like you must have Googled it, like what is. So you might have known that it's a procurement solution. But in today's session, what we are going to do is we are going to go in depth of what that procurement solution is, what are their different modules in SAP Ariba, how does they work, and what are the, their great functionalities and how it benefits the uh, customers that we use. So yeah, we'll come to the benefits. Well, like I already talked few of the points, like how it's a cloud-based solution and where it can be accessed from anywhere. We do also have a mobile app of it, so that a track can be kept. All the approvals, non-approvals can be done, or the notifications can be done, just like as you have an app. So it's that handy. Uh, the customized, we can have a certain limitation of customizations. We can do that those customizations, and the main thing of this or main reason why customers opt for SAP Ariba is it provides a hell of a transparency and scalability into the supply base. So the compliance issues or even the transparency with the buyers, like how this particular material was procured or any kind of a communication is stored at a single place, and it helps the users or the higher management to have a scalability or a visibility. Let's say even if when there is a change management, let's say a person left the organization and still we need to see what communication was happened. So this is stored at a certain place, and it's stored on a cloud, a secure cloud. So yeah, that's it. So this, what you can see on screen, are the typical solutions what SAP Ariba provides. So it's it's categorized by the portfolios. So for example, like SAP Ariba there are five typical SAP Ariba uh, portfolios, which are SAP Ariba Strategic Sourcing, SAP Ariba Supplier Management, SAP Ariba Supplier Chain, SAP Ariba Procurement, and SAP Ariba Financial Supply Chain. So we are going to divide this into two parts. So one which you can see from this green uh, comes under the upstream solutions, and one which the portfolios, these three portfolios, this comes under the downstream solutions. So it's nothing but like when I say upstream and downstream, I'll be clarifying for each module going further in our session. But just when it comes to downstream, it typically says like it follows the P2P cycle, the complete P2P cycle, starting from PR, doing the procurement process, and then going to the going to the invoicing management, and then doing the payments to the supplier based on the terms. So yeah, so we have this different kind of an solutions like spend analysis, strategic sourcing, contract management, supplier management, operational management, invoice management, and payment. So these cycles are done, and with that we have different functionalities of them. Like what? we can leverage when I say like for sourcing, we can leverage RFI, RFP, and auctions, which allows the supplier again those visibilities and transparencies. So we are gonna talk in detail of all the solutions that are available in upstream and downstream. Anyone have any questions on this? Like, should we move it to the next part? Okay. Silence is accepted as no. Now, what we are seeing right now here is about the SAP Ariba Cloud Integration Gateway. So now, if SAP Ariba is to be communicated with ERP, it has a middleware which is called CIG, which was called CIG. Now its name has been changed and it's SAP Ariba uh, spend spend management gateway. I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly, but this is something which has been changed last week, and we, as an old consultant, still refers to as CIG. So yeah, it will take some time for us to change this name. So yeah, so I'll be referring at CIG as of now. So SAP Ariba Cloud Integration Gateway, it provides a gateway to communicate with the suppliers, to communicate the ERP supplier, ERPs with SAP Ariba. So the communication happening with with both the systems follows through a specific channel, which is called SAP Ariba Cloud Integration Gateway. So that's the simplest way I could put what CIG is. So when we say it communicates, it means like we are sending a PR, which if the PR is created in ERP and we wish to send it to the SAP Ariba for further procurement process, it is sent as from PR from ECC, and then it's created as a sourcing request in Ariba. So those communication and those channels comes with certain configurations. Like we have to configure CIG, we have to configure some things in ECC or S4 HANA or any of our ERP system, in order to make sure like the data what we send is secured and what we receive is even the secure. So yeah, this is all about cloud integration gateway. Now, coming to our first module of this evening, which is SAP Ariba Supply Lifecycle and Performance. So it's also called SLP, which is one of the most used vendor master module of in SAP Ariba. So what happens is like this is a data module and it has a certain stages. So there are multiple stages where a supplier goes through in order to get on board for some organization. So when I say stages, it means there are certain tasks like the supplier request, supplier registration, supplier qualification, and preferred suppliers. So these are the stages what suppliers go through and get preferred for certain region, department, and commodity. I repeat, supplier gets this at every stage with respect to region, commodity,
Hello,
department. Hello.
Siddharth. I have a question
Yes.
about the CIG.
Yes.
So you told it's an gateway. Means it's, when the PR or PU is generated in the Ariba, it get reflected
Hmm.
in ERP, right?
It happens both ways. So if we talk about
Yeah, it's
the
happen both
example
way.
that I
But
gave,
okay, so the
the
integration
example
is called as cloud integration gateway, correct? So how the mapping is done between two softwares like backend it's backend it's ERP and front end is it's Ariba.
Ariba, yeah,
So, will you teach us the mapping in both the softwares, the backend and front
absolutely,
end?
absolutely, yes. When we go through the
But as
training,
per I can see the content, you just mentioned here like only overview of CIG.
uh, what we are looking at today is overview of Ariba and its functionalities, like how we are gonna do it, right? and the CIG in depth, CIG like configuration or what we need to configure, those things are going to be taken care of while training.
Okay.
Yeah, because we would need a system, like I would be showcasing you the system, like where to configure, why to configure. So those kind of things would be covered in as part of training. So what we are looking today is our agenda today is to just to identify and understand what kind of solutions we have, and based on that solutions, what we can how we are going to configure an SAP Ariba solution for a customer. Are we clear on agenda?
No, no, sir. We can move it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yeah, as I said, SLP is a vendor management tool. So we can mark the supply performances. We can have the supply 360 profiles. So it works in a such a way, like for it start with the supplier request. So it can be an external internal request. A request is sent to the supplier. A request is sent to the buyer, and if he thinks like this with the minimal data like name, email ID, and let's say address. Once that supplier data comes in system, uh, there is an approval flow or workflow that can be set up based on the fields that are available in SLP, or based on the fields that are available in the form of a request form. So based on that, different workflows based on the department, commodity, region can be set up. This can be configured. This comes again as a part of configuration, like how the business need is and what we are going to configure. So when we come to the training, we are also going to get an in-depth learning of how the workflows are configured, and how to set up a different conditions, rules, and how to trigger an approval flow. So this is something what we would be learning in our further trainings. And once the request is approved, the supplier can be sent for registration. So registration is nothing but a process where a supplier answers few queries, few questions which are sent to him, and there are certain details which are internal, and internal buyer fixes it or internal buyer answers it, and based on that the registration is completed post the workflow or approval workflow. So workflow remains constant for all the processes as and when needed, and what based on the customer needs. So once it's registered, it we can qualify that supplier for certain department. He is doing and well in like supplying goods, and the buyers feel like he can be qualified. So we can have those qualified suppliers. And once the qualification process starts, it usually seems as like we can send it to the suppliers, or we can have a qualification based an internal qualification. So when I say internal qualification, it's like certain department communicates with each other, provide their approvals, and then the qualification status is said to be as qualified for a supplier. After the qualification, the supplier is eligible for preferred supplier. So preferred supplier is nothing as its name suggests. It is preferred for certain department, commodity, or region. And once it's preferred, so whenever you are doing a sourcing event, and let's say you have selected like the filters, like I'm procuring a material, and which is XYZ material, which is for ABC region. So automatically the supplier which are preferred for that those pops up, and what you can do is you can simply select like I have this many options of the suppliers, and I can send or float the RFQ to them. So yeah, this is what SLP is about. After that, in SLP, there is also functionality where we can do the supplier performance management. We can track the performance management and all those stuff. And all these processes have a template. So here comes a configuration part where a template is nothing but a preset of rules or a content defined in order to use it when a request is to be sent to the suppliers. So Yeah, so this is a preset rules, like we can configure a template and keep it into the realm so that other buyers who use this particular template is like they can see like this question has to be entered at each and every time. So we can simply add it in the template so that every time it saves time, and the supplier doesn't have to change the rules. Sorry, the buyers doesn't have to change the rules or content at every point of time, and it's easy for them to work on those templates on those processes. So yeah, any questions on supply lifecycle and performance? I missed one thing here. Like when the supplier is based on our configuration, we can integrate it with ERP. If ERP is like, let's say, S4 HANA, and we have collected the data in ARIBA, we can send this to ERP. We can send this to S4 HANA automatically. When like we can set a rule where we want the supplier is, if it's registered, we want it to be automatically get automatically integrate with our S4 HANA. So when I say integrated, it means like a business partner is created in S4 HANA automatically with the configuration that we have maintained. So there are configuration which is to be done at S4 side, and configuration certain done at Ariba level. So yeah. Any questions on SLP, or we can move further? Okay. I guess so. We'll just move with the next model, which is SAP Ariba sourcing. So SAP Ariba sourcing is nothing but an event management, or let's what we the it's a platform where we can send RFI, RFP, and auction. It's a money saving tool. What we can see in a simple language. So what happens is, so for example, if you want to procure a certain material, let's say you want to procure a rubber, and rubber is something which these are I have this potential supplier. So what you will do if you need some information regarding a customized typically of some properties of rubber, you can send an RFI to them. So RFI is nothing but request for information. So we don't talk about commercials here in RFI. We just talk about what kind of a product you want, what kind of a feasibility supplier gonna provide, and all those things as a part of information can be sent in RFI. Once we are done with the RFI, we can go ahead and create an RFP. So RFP is nothing but like what we can talk about commercials here. We can select the quotes, we can get the quotes, we can request the quotes from different suppliers, and of course, like we can check the eligibility as well. So once we receive the quotes from supplier, like what are the basic prices they're going to offer, and so all those, we can go for auction, which is the last step where we last as a solution which in this sourcing tool. So auction is nothing but a competitive auction. So there are multiple auction types which can be which can be leveraged in order to save the cost and given competitive bidding to the suppliers based on the like payment terms or lead time, or let's say the let's say the commercial wise as well. So even SAP Ariba helps us to find the best bid, what we have received yet in the system, and based on that, there are 55 or 56 to be uh, auction types which can be leveraged, and there are different like auction types as well, like Japanese, Dutch, English. These are the auction types, reverse auction type, which can be leveraged. The strategies that can be implemented in SAP Ariba sourcing module in order to create an event, or let's say create an sourcing event which helps to reduce cost and compete based on the uh, based on the available supplies we have. So, yeah. Apart from this sourcing, once we received an quotes from supplier, we can have those quotes. We can award that supplier. Same email communication can be sent. and once the email communication is been sent, we can once we confirm the supplier, we can create a PO for that particular supplier. So now the creation of PO from RFP or auction is something like an integration point where we have to again configure the system in such a way, like we have to configure the CIG, we have to configure the S4 system, and based on the configuration, what we can do is we can create a PO into the system in S4 HANA. Let's say if our ERP system is for HANA, we can create a PO out of it, that we have codes and data that we have received from the supplier. So it's an automated process, no manual interaction needed from buyer or the agent who's going to do it.
Siddhant, the
Yes.
RF is that for non-catalog items or like new items?
Yes, it's for a non-catalog items. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in order to avoid this, there are tons of reports available in SAP Ariba in sourcing solutions where which can be compared. So for like an event level report as well, or if you want to compare multiple events as well, those also report function is abundant in SAP Ariba sourcing. So there are a lot of reports which we can download. On event level, what we can do is we can uh, download the reports based on the PDF, in the PDF form in an Excel format if we need for the comparison. So those can also be leveraged. So this is also one of the features of SAP Ariba sourcing. Yeah. Also, SAP Ariba based on like it also provides a SAP Ariba Discovery, which where it reaches out to the Ariba network suppliers. So Ariba network suppliers are nothing but like the suppliers which are already established and are well known doing the business on SAP Ariba network. So there are suppliers available and filtered with regions or commodity, standard commodities, and we can also leverage this particular solution in order to have the supplier search as well. Any question from anyone?
So does CIG come in picture for RFP, RFQ?
Oh yes, absolutely it does. Like when I said, like from RFP, the codes are sent to the ERP system. Let's say S4. When a PO is to be created, that PO is generated via configuration in CIG and some configurations in ECC or S4 system. And same thing when if you want a certain details to be flown from S4 system to Ariba, we what we create is we create a PR in system, and after PR, what we have to create a RFQ. So RFQ is something like an interactive document between SAP Ariba and S4 HANA. So RFQ once pushed from S4 HANA, it's created as a sourcing request in SAP Ariba, and from sourcing request we create the SAP Ariba events what we like RFI, RFP, or RFQ. Even if the PR is not created first, I have seen the business process in my career like the PR is created at later stage. We already have a master data placed into the system. So what happens is like if the master data is already available, we can create a sourcing project or sourcing request out of it, and using the data which is already available in our ERP system. So yeah, that is also which is possible. So that's what our next data flow is. So if you can see this data flow, we have three channels here. One is ERP, one is SAP Ariba sourcing, and one is supplier network. So when I say ERP, it might be ECC or S4, and if we import the master data at first place in SAP sourcing, so that master data is available in the realm all across it. So once the RFQ is created in ECC, it goes to the SAP Ariba sourcing as a sourcing request. Out of the sourcing request, once sourcing request is taken forward as a sourcing project. So sourcing project can be RFI, RFP, or auction or a forward auction, and then it is invite suppliers are invited. So supplier are invited via an Ariba network. So supplier network, and if supplier has an account, it's fine. He can log in and see our auction or the event. If he not, he can sign up. And so the basic account, like for supplier also, there are certain accounts like enterprise account, standard account. So the standard accounts is for free, and enterprise account, Ariba provides some functionalities which helps suppliers to find new customers. So its enterprise accounts are pretty much like some a way chargeable. So yeah, after an RFP or sourcing event is done, an award is done, and based on that award, we can create a purchase order or an contract. Or same, if the contract is to be created, we can create a contract in contract management solution, which is our next solution in scope in SAP Ariba. So all the touch points which you can see on this line, like master data point, like RFQ point, purchase order point, or contract point, all these need and configuration in CIG as well as in ECC or S4 HANA or any of the ERP we create. Yeah. Does that answer your query? Okay. Any other question? I heard someone.
Yeah, Siddharth, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I actually joined just now. I was on another meeting. I'll just set up a context that I'm a current user of this Ariba supplier portal,
Okay.
and I'm a fresh user of that. Please just rotate this link so that I can hear from starting the training link. I just wanted to understand the dashboard which you are showing is not similar to the dashboard which is visible to me in the supplier portal.
Uh, Sorry,
I
which
can
which
see the yes. I have a in my account, like in my account for the Ariba supplier portal account. I can see the company profile and the lead list and this and that. But all the process and everything which you're showing is very much I'm interested, but I cannot track any of those things. So can you just help me understanding the different like there are supplier portal, there are buyer portal. So on the basic front, can you just help me understand how does it work?
okay, okay. Sure. Your good name?
Swati Tiwari.
Yeah, sure. So Swati, supplier network is, so for example, I'll give you a brief idea like what happened, like how is Ariba works. Okay, so there's an Ariba network. In Ariba network, there are two modules like buyer network and supplier network. Okay,
Correct.
and if any customer opts for SAP Ariba solution, okay, he gets an realm. So what I'm showing you here is this is SAP Ariba realm. Okay. So when I say a realm, it's specific to the company. It's specific. So for example, if let's give an example, like in Bajaj is a company. So Bajaj has its own realm where it's all master data, it's all events been done, is stored in that particular realm. Supplier network, when I say supplier network, is wide open. So supplier network, we can have a single supplier network, like let's say if you are a supplier and you are doing a business with Bajaj, you are not constrained with Bajaj. Okay, you can take an another automotive company, let's say Tata, and you can opt with Tata as well with the same account. It's on your choice. Like you can have the same account for both. You can have the different accounts for both. But when it comes to the customer, as in like Bajaj or Tata, they have to have a different realms so that they can have a master data has been there. And suppliers
Okay.
network is wide open. Yeah. So supply communication only happens when the something data is requested from their end. Let's say if they are asked to be registered for that, there are certain questionnaires to be answered uh, by, by by the respective customers. They have to log into their account. They have to fill those. They can see those forms and they can answer those forms. If there are certain RFQs been floated, if there are certain auction has been ongoing, they can log into it. They can send their responses, and yeah, based on that, they can see those award as well. They can have their different reports as well. All those things. Also, it has a lot of functionality more than upstream in downstream, which we will be covering afterwards. But yeah, as of now, what I talked about like supplies is it's secure to pretty much this functionality, this modules. Yeah.
Okay, so from where I'm coming is like I wanted a platform through which I can create a RFP flow or RFP pipeline. I am
Hmm.
basically working as a bid manager in my company, and Ariba was something I was doing a research on, and I already connected with the team beforehand. But I got to know that there is a subscription for buyer only, not for suppliers. So I can create my company profile and I can, keep on scanning for the leads, adding the keywords, and then I can get a whole uh, you can say a flow or a whole understanding of what all things are there in market where I can bid. So
Uh,
this is
Definitely, it's not that what you heard. It's
okay.
yeah. So let me just throw a light on it. Like there are two kind of an accounts for suppliers as well, which I mentioned earlier. It's
Okay.
one is standard account and one is enterprise account. So all those
Mm,
functionalities you just said, like you can create an account, you can see what kind of bids are there. So it's like SAP Ariba doesn't allow you to be on SAP Ariba Discovery, which is a supplier search channel that easily. First, you need to have an enterprise account for it, which you are gonna pay few dollars. That's for sure. After that, there would be a report being generated. Like if you have worked with different customers across the globes within that region or outside that region for which you are opting for it, based on that, their feedback, the SPM is created, which is supplier performance management, and out of it, the rating is being given to you. So how if let me give you an example. Like if you go on Amazon shopping something, you see a buyer portal, right? You see who is selling that, and it has a rating, certain ratings. So same thing is applicable in SAP Riba as well for supplier networks.
okay.
Yeah.
Siddharth, can I have a facility where I can deep down connect with any of your dedicated team where I can understand? Like, I think this call is a briefing for multiple people, so I think I would need a understanding, maybe a demo link or any videos you have for the enterprise account where I can share this with my management or create a report on what all benefits would be there in the enterprise account, or I can understand
Sure.
because currently I do not, right? So that will be very
Sure,
much
Swati.
easy for
So
me, saves
so yeah,
everyone's time.
I do get your queries like how it's coming from and the business process. Like I have worked in strategic consulting as well, so I know
Hmm,
how to handle those queries or how what exactly the customer is. But what we can do is you know Sana, right? You can reach out to Sana because I think what audience is expecting out of me today is totally different. Totally different.
exactly.
Like we are gonna see the SAP Ariba solution overview. So, and what you're asking is basically a typical how the customers would be benefiting on like how they want to pitch it. So I get that, but we might need a different call for that. With
Okay.
Swati, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yes. Any other question on sourcing? Or we move to the next module, which is our SAP Ariba contracts. Okay. So yeah, so SAP Ariba Contracts is nothing but a contract management solution, and which is in SAP Ariba, which helps to gather the document, different run a different task, or have a review approval on a cloud-based platform. So there would be a question in your mind, like why, if SAP is providing this, what functionality these would provide if we already have an SAP contract management in ECC or S4. So what happens with this solution is it stores all the documents related to it in cloud within a communicative way. So for example, if let's say you have a contract which is to be reviewed by a legal team, so there is a review task available in SAP Ariba contracts, and you can uh, send those on that particular document digitally to that particular legal team, let's say, and legal team reviews it and provides their approval on a cloud system. So this is a benefit out of that of SAP review contracts. So this is one of the benefit, and there are multiple, like you can review it, you can approve it. uh, the main functionality is you can get it digitally signed by supplier, so that he doesn't need to visit the office. He can check the clauses, terms. He can negotiate on the clauses. He can negotiate again on the price. So this kind of a functionalities and this kind of a task comes under SAP Ariba contracts. And with this functionality, it has enhanced, as we have seen from the years, like we it has enhanced its contract management solution. Like it has made it easier way to process this particular contracts and to process the cycle time. So for example, if I want to send it to be approved by uh, certain certain team, and it has been pending for a long, and we have to send a reminder, so we can set an automatic notifications and all those stuff, which easy to complete the business process, is done in SAP in the contracts. Again, these contracts can be integrated with ECC or ERP, S4 system, any ERP system. And once it's integrated with an outline agreement or a standalone agreement, which it can be created into the uh, ERP system. So, any questions on this Ariba contract? So this is pretty much a small module, but let's say it's like functionality wise, it's a big module. It's easy to configure. It's easy to go through it, easy to understand. But yeah, but it's a very helpful module what we have in this in it now. Any questions so far?
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
So can you explain us about the contract compliance, how it works?
The downstream part you are asking about, right?
Contract compliance. Hello.
Yes, contract compliance is something like you're talking about contract terms and blanket purchase orders, right? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So yeah, that comes at a downstream part. Now, what contract management solution we heard is upstream part, and we are going to address that in our downstream part, like as where you are buying and invoicing one. So yeah, I'll just park your question for that.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So now, as we are coming to the downstream solution, so this is a typical P2P solution which SAP Ariba buying and invoicing follows. Okay. So let's say if there are three systems in SAP Ariba buying and invoicing. Again, SAP Ariba realm, which is a buying and invoicing realm now, and in ERP system. Pardon me, this I have kept as an Oracle system, but it's not constrained to as an Oracle. This can be S4, this can be ERP, and then there is a supplier network. So as a first step, like what we have is we have the master data implemented and master data available in SAP Ariba Web, so that it can be used across. Now, when I say and master data for downstream, there are certain additional master data than upstream. let's say company code, payment terms, or all those stuff which comes under like material master data, item master data. So those comes into the master data. So all the data which is available readily in our ERP system comes into the SAP buying and invoicing. So if a user wishes to create a purchase requisition in ARIBA realm, so in buying and invoicing, he can create a if he has an appropriate roles and rights to create the requisition. We he can create a requisition, and there is one more ARIBA module which is guided buying. So guided buying is nothing but an UI based like a, which has a tiles or a
Si-
catalog items.
Siddhant, sorry to
Hello,
disturb. Is there any way you could move that app, go to sharing your screen, that
sure.
pop up? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yes. So yeah, I was talking about guided buying. So guided buying is nothing but an enhanced UI where you can see the different tiles. So tiles are nothing but the catalog items where a price is already negotiated or file is already available with the system. Sorry, file is already stored in the system in the form of catalog. So, for example, let's say you have a contract with HP and you want to buy a laptop. It gives you an experience same like as an Amazon, like how you can see a tile of image or any kind of an image which has been posted by supplier or a buyer, and you can click on it and add to the cart, and proceed it by creating a requisition. So now this comes as a guided by part, and once you add something in the as an some item into the requisition, it comes to the buying and invoicing run. So the requisition is created in buying and invoicing run, and it again follows the workflow, the approval workflow, how it is to be configured. Like there are multiple fields by which approval workflow can be triggered, or it can be started. So based on the approvals with different departments, or like it can be set up on different departments again. And once it's approved by all, it creates a purchase order. It sends data to the ERP system, as you can see in this flow here. It has gone to the Oracle, or let's say in ERP system, and the purchase order is created here automatically once it's approved, and the same purchase order number is flown back to Ariba realm, and it has the same number in the Ariba and ERP system. So once now the purchase order is created in Ariba realm, it has been, if the supplier is active on Ariba network, we can the supplier automatically receives a notification that he has been awarded with a purchase order. And once the purchase order is created, then there are few action items which the supplier communicates with with the buyers on the document front, which is like creation of order confirmation, creation of ASN. If it's an service based PO, then a SES is to be created, which is service entry sheet. So when I say an order confirmation, like he provides some details, like I'm confirming this order, this is my ID, he's giving an estimate date. So in this, all things are optional. Order confirmation and ASN. If customer wishes to have an order confirmation from supplier, they can leverage this functionality of SAP Ariba. In order to have those confirmation, in order to have this advance shipment notice, like exact date of delivery, when it is going to be shipped, when it is going to be delivered, and other rest of the details with attachment functions and a lot of other details which can be configured into the SAP Ariba. So based on that, having a to and fro communication for order confirmation and advance shipment notice, a GR is created, and the same GR details is sent to SAP. It's sent to the suppliers on our supplier network, where they can see on their profile, like for this PO, this GR, this is the GR copy. And based on that, or based on GR, or based on the service entry sheet. So for example, if I have created a service entry sheet, me being a supplier, I've created a service entry sheet, and it's approved into the customer's ERP. So once in ERP it's created, uh, it's approved in ERP, then I get a notification like the service entry sheet is accepted for this certain PO, and I can raise an invoice against it. Now here comes the spend management or what we can say an invoice management system in SAP Ariba. So once the invoice is raised from Ariba network to the and it's received into the buying and invoicing, then the reconciliation of invoice happens into the SAP Ariba realm. So when I say invoicing reconciliation, it says like reconciliation document is created, and the reconciliation documents carries the information of invoice, which is required. Like for example, if approval is to be done, so the approval is set up in IR document. So IR gets approved, then and communication to and fro communications happen for the remittance document. So an OK to pay or like a payment file is created, which is again sent to the ERP system, and it contains the data of the amount is to be paid, for which item is to be paid, and based on that, the payment request, a payment is made, and the same remittance advice which is created into the ERP system is then sent to the realm, and from realm it's sent to the supplier. So the supplier can have those details of the payment remittance as well. Now, the invoice, if for example, if supplier is not Ariba network supplier, there are certain suppliers who do not wish to come on Ariba network, and they ask ask the buyers to create an invoice based out of it. So it can be also handled by buyers. So for example, it's not considered the suppliers, like suppliers should create an invoice from their end. So buyer can raise an invoice based on that PO, or he can raise a non-PO invoice as well, and with the details they have like company code, the supplier details, of course, and what vendor ID it is, that is it already integrated with the ERP system, the vendor ID, and all those details are picked, and apart from with this, and payment file is generated which contains the data of the payment is to be done to the supplier. Now, if the purchase order is, if for example, if we have a contract, so coming to the question which is asked someone from the audience, like regarding the contract compliance. So, contract, what we saw as a contract management is the contract what we create, and beyond that, there is a contract compliance. So, when I say contract compliance, it comes as a downstream part, and in contract compliance, the sup- the buyers have to create a contract terms. So contract terms are created, and based on that, like if we have a function like that, this can be a blanket purchase order, which a purchase order blanket purchase order means like we can be create which can be used on a multiple basis, and there are certain contract terms which is like the line items which are like recurring line items, or there are expense line items. There are 3 to 4 types of line items which we will be seeing in details while when we have the training sessions of this, like what kind of a contract is and what contract terms uh, consist of. So all whole process on which invoice can be raised on the contract items when an invoice can be raised is called a contract compliance. So any contract terms, any pricing terms which has the data of like what is the expiration date of this item, or what is the maximum amount that I can put in for this item. All those created and all those data created as a part of contract terms or pricing terms in contract is called as a contract compliance. So even if it's a contract, if it's a catalog, for catalog item we are creating a contract, the process of procuring it or paying it or invoicing it remains same as what you can see on the screen right now. The data flow remains same across the realm. Now, I think I have answered the question. If there are any few queries on the contract front, or any question about the buying and invoicing flow, you can uh, ask me.
Siddharth, I have a question.
Yes.
Hello. So
Yes,
you're
please go
showing
ahead.
here supplier, okay? Supplier. It may be a direct supplier or or in the Ariba network, right? Uh, and the last one is Oracle. So it is like a ERP, right? You're showing here Oracle,
Yes,
but it
it's
is an
it's
ERP.
ERP.
It may be
Yeah.
ECC or the HANA. So
Yes.
as you will create the purchase order in SAP Ariba, it will be reflected in a purchase order due to the CIG, right? So in the
Right.
training, will you show us both the things like while we create the PO in Ariba and it got reflected, it got synced, right? Synced in the
Yes.
ECC or HANA. So are you going to show us that in the HANA software as well while in the training?
Yes, I need to check with Sana like the availability of system which is gonna be provided into the training.
So
If it's
because that's the process we could get understand better like whether it is
exactly,
getting synced or
exactly.
not, whether it got the CIG mapped correctly or not, right? And you're also going
I
to
agree.
train us on the mapping, right? Mapping of the CIG.
Yes, the word which you are using as a mapping has a different meaning in CIG. Okay, so
Okay.
when you say mapping, it is like a custom mapping that is to be done. So for example, there are two kind of mappings like standard mapping and custom mapping. So if the standard mapping is done like to give a very basic or lame example is like this field, if I'm sending it from here should sit at this field, that particular thing is called mapping. But when you talk about two systems communicating in which each other, it's called integration. So SAP Ariba and ERP
Yeah.
communicating like sending PO details, then the PO is created in S4 HANA or in ERP, and then it's again sending the PO number to SAP Ariba. That's called integration. And
Yes.
mapping
Yes.
is
That's
if
not the
there is
same.
a certain, yeah,
And
if there is a certain field
and
which is to be gone
that I
and
think
sit.
that's the term mapping term. Mapping term is in the CIG, correct?
Yes, that's in CIG.
There is,
Yeah.
yes, it is in the CIG. Sorry. Okay.
Yes. So yes, according to about the system, you'll receive a communication from Sana, like how the system is gonna be based on the availability, seeing the number of audience. But yeah, surely the flow which I am talking about would be we would be able to show.
Okay, then and the software will be integrated one, right?
Integrated.
Integrated one. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. Any other question? Okay. So in this screen, it's the last screen of our today's session, and what you can see is you are well understood, known the flow of how the downstream works and how the upstream works, right? So if certain buyers like they wish to create a they wish to integrate both the system, there is no such integration as a functionality is to be done. You just have to buy the licenses, and how this is how it will work, the data flow. So from SAP Ariba buy, when we create a PR, what we just saw in the previous screen, and what we saw at the start, like how the sourcing request is created. So the process of upstream is gonna start after the PR creation in downstream, and once the PR is created, once the sourcing is completed on with the complete process, then a PR at last is updated with the details of award instead of creating directly a PO, which we create in upstream. If it's integrated with downstream, what will happen is it will update the PR, and based on the details on the updated PR, it's gonna create a PO. So this is how upstream and downstream are gonna communicate if both the licenses are purchased. Okay, guys, that's all what I had for today. Hope you have understood the overview of like what SAP Ariba is and what I'm gonna give you in the further trainings. So if any questions on you have any in mind, like any technical or non-technical or any of the business process wise, you can ask me.
Sorry, not technical, but do you do these kind of web Zoom meetings often, or what is this about?
Sorry, Ajit, I didn't quite get what your question exactly.
I
Like
mean,
Zoom meetings was it?
uh, do you do these kind of demos often, or is this part of a series, or is it just an introduction, or?
This is just part of an introduction, and yeah, these are the introductory sessions.
Hi Jay. This is the part of the introduction, and I mean, today it's just a demo session. Basically, the course duration is 40 to 45 hours, and shortly I will be sharing you the course content, this demo recording, and the course fees. And what is the package of this is like we will be providing you the complete set of recordings, and we will be sharing you the 2 months of ARIBA access, and we will be also sharing you the material certification terms, and we'll be sharing you the SAP Portal Hub videos also. Okay, so apart from that, what is the fee structure and what is the schedule of the classes? So everyone can get in touch with their respective business relationship executives to whom you have spoken to join the demo session. And see, any technical queries you can ask to Siddhant. But coming to the related admin queries, I can clarify that. Okay, thank you guys.
And Sana, about my question, are you going to provide the S4 HANA
Yes, I will.
portal?
I will update you. Okay, by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to check because we have the Ariba system already. So the integration with ECC and S4 HANA, I just need to check once with the team. I'll update you tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
So guys,
Okay.
do you have any
So
more queries?
okay, I think there are none. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining this session.
Yeah,
I'll
Siddhant,
just
thank you so much for the wonderful session. And guys, I'll get in touch with you all. Then we can just proceed accordingly. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, Sana.
Thank you.